it just gets lumped in.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, there was one person I'm going to talk about a little later on who actually had the clever idea to go murder a rival. She kind of got busted and didn't succeed in her crime, but I'll tell you about that later.
Oops.
Yeah, oopsie. Also, getting back to Professor McLaughlin again, he writes and researches about historic and obscure serial killers, and he's done a lot of research on the Atlanta Ripper, I think more than anybody, really. I managed to track him down, and I gave him a call, mostly because I wanted to confirm my claim that the Ripper didn't mutilate his victims. And the Saturday night thing too, and he did confirm that. Yeah, there was no mutilation, and it wasn't like clockwork or anything like that. Sometimes there would be months in between killings, and there was a period in mid 1911 where there was for about 4 murders came along about once a week. And
that's where it's the every Saturday night thing came in, because it was about a week apart.
Yeah. Anyway, the professor was a real nice guy, and we had a nice talk because we both like to talk about murder and mayhem.
That's true.
Yeah, he was telling
winning friends and influencing people.
Yeah.
I know. He was like telling me about this crime that some crime or another. I can't remember even now what the crime was. It's not the Atlanta Ripper, and then that reminded me of Jeremy Bamber. So I was like, hey, have you ever heard of the Jeremy Bamber case? He said, no, tell me about it. So I told him about that. And I think he's probably going to check it out. And it's such a juicy case. You know? Yeah. And we were just going batting mysteries back and forth like that. Oh, and I also wanted to mention the professor's written 2 books. I told him, he didn't ask me to, but I told him I would give him a plug for his books.
For the help he gave, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so his 2 books are about serial killers. One is called The Postcard Killer. He's about a pedophile and serial killer named J. Frank Hickey. And he was finally arrested in 1912, died in prison in 1922. And why he didn't get strung up is kind of a mystery to me, because the guy's crimes, I don't know if you've read about this guy or not.
I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. The crime he got caught for is he lured a 7-year-old boy with promises of going to a candy store, took him to an outhouse. I
already know this is going to be heinous.
Oh, it's heinous. It gets more heinous. Well, he rapes the little boy, strangles him, stuffs him down in the outhouse, and then 18 days later, the chief of police in this town gets a postcard, basically saying where you can find the body, and he sends 2 cops around to check the outhouse. Oh, I forgot to mention, after he murdered the little boy, he went into the saloon and started drinking. Now that's ballsy. So anyway, the cops did not see the body down there. Apparently, some other people had come along. Go figure. 18 days later, and the body was covered with something.
Yeah.
The body didn't get found until like a year later. Well, so meantime, the little boy is still missing. His parents are quite anguished about it. He starts sending postcards to the parents, taunting them.
This is a common sentiment with psychopaths.
Yeah. Well, actually, I can't think of a single case where somebody has sent postcards to the family of their victims.
There have been a number of things that I've read about where people have been sending stuff to the families.
Yeah, anyway.
It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, I don't understand why he didn't get the death penalty. But anyway, that book is The Postcard Killer. And the other book that he's written is called The Mail Order Serial Killer, and it's about a guy named Harry Powers, who is thought to have killed as many as 50 people, and he did get strung up. He was, I think he was caught in late 1931 and put on trial, and he was strung up about 6-7 months later, in early 1932. They really did.
So a fair and speedy trial.
Yeah, they didn't waste a lot of time back in those days. So anyway, enough of that. I haven't read the books yet. They get good reviews on Amazon, except for one guy. There's one guy who ordered The Postcard Killer, and there's another book out there called The Postcard Killers by James Patterson. You know that guy? He writes a lot of crime novels. Yeah, I guess he was wanting to get that book. He accidentally orders The Postcard Killer. So he orders this one instead, and he posted a 1-star review because he was so pissed because he got the wrong book.
Because he ordered the wrong.
Because it's a bonehead. He ordered the wrong. Yeah.
Oh God.
The other reviews are 5-star reviews.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, back to our Atlanta killings. McLaughlin and Bing took 2 of the victims off the list because they died of gunshot wounds. 2 were
that's
stabbed
not really
to death.
the MO.
Yeah, not really. One was, her throat was slashed, but she was thrown into the river afterwards, and so that one...
That didn't match.
Yeah, it doesn't quite match.
Because the MO was to bash them in the head, cut their drag them somewhere secluded, and then cut their throats.
Yeah, another victim had her skull crushed, but her throat was not slit. Another one was stabbed in the throat. No, 4 others were eliminated because someone other than the Ripper had been convicted for killing them. 2 more were eliminated because they were probable suspects. But one of them is the one that I was thinking maybe possibly should be on the list, but that could also be the copycat killing that I was talking about. So anyway, they narrowed it way down to 8. Still a pretty decent amount of people.
It's still quite a number of people for one person.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more than I plan on killing.
I was going to say, I haven't gotten to 8 killings yet.
Not me neither.
Yeah, despite all of your hard work.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to kill people from my office chair? It's really difficult.
Yeah.
I don't lift a finger, and they don't die.
It's
really
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is just not working out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the problem is with committing murders, unless you go out and totally randomly kill somebody, if you kill somebody, it's because you're highly motivated to murder them. And that's kind of points a finger back at you. Yeah, so probably why I'm never going to kill anybody. Also, I don't like blood.
So
I also didn't mention this. One person saw the Ripper and lived to tell the tale.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Emma Lou Sharp. She described him as a tall black man with broad shoulders, wearing a black suit and a wide-brimmed hat. There was one other account that I read, said another woman named Mary Adele had met the Ripper. She left her employer's place and went out in the alley, and she saw a tall black man. I think this was right after the reports in the newspapers from Emma Lou Sharp seeing a tall black man. She goes out in the alley, sees a tall black man, and runs back inside and tells her employer. He goes out and confronts the guy. The guy just left, but he had a gun. The employer went out with a gun. Well, yeah, and just because he was tall and black doesn't really make him the Ripper.
No,
at all.
And when you see somebody run into I think it was in an alleyway, right?
Yeah.
Run into the alleyway brandishing a firearm.
Yeah, I'm going to leave.
I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
In a hurry as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Emma Lou's the only one who saw him and lived to tell. But
because she got attacked.
She did get attacked, yeah.
She got stabbed in the back.
She got stabbed in the back, yeah. So I'll talk about that in a minute here. Just in chronological order, we'll talk about the murders. First one was October 3rd, 1910. That was Maggie Brooks, age 23, walking home from work one night, and somebody bashed her on the head and slit her throat. And then months later, Rosa Trice, her body was found really close to her house, like about 75 yards away.
This is, 2 months later?
January 22nd, 1911. Yeah, 3 months later.
Just a little over 2 months.
Yeah.
2-3 months somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking, let's see. No, I'd say more like 3.5 months, but, whatever. Her husband was arrested for this. He was released for lack of evidence, and it does fit the MO pretty well. Next up, May 27th, 1911, Mary Walker, age unknown. Her body was actually found in the rear of her home. She had left her job as a cook the previous night, and I'm guessing that the Ripper followed her home. And people say, I'm not sure if these accounts mean that she was actually in her home or in the yard behind her home. I'm not totally sure.
Every time I read it, I got the impression that she was outside.
Yeah.
I never got the idea that the Ripper was killing people inside of their home.
Yeah, I don't think either.
So. Yeah, I don't think so.
I think it's a heck of a lot more work than he was up for.
Yeah, I think so. So anyway, at this time there's still months going by, but now it's sped up a little bit. Next one was June 15th, 1911. So a little over 2 weeks later. That was Addie Watts. She'd been hit with a brick instead of a rock, and then dragged into the bushes, and her throat was cut. And next up, June 24th, only 9 days later, Lizzie Watkins, same MO. She was hit with a rock, throat cut. And then came Lena Sharp. That's Emma Lou Sharp's mother. Yeah. There are 2 versions of this. The version you hear the most is that Lena had gone to the store, and when she hadn't come back in about an hour, Emma Lou got worried and went looking for her and went to the store, and she hadn't been to the store. So she's walking back home, frantically worried about her mother, and runs into this black guy, tall black guy, broad shoulders and all that stuff. And he said to her, "How are you feeling tonight?" And she said she was feeling fine. And she tried to walk past him, and he says, "Don't be afraid. I never hurt girls like you."
And then stabbed her in the back.
And laughed.
What?
Yeah, well, that was a great joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that's a joke at all.
No, it's sick.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
Yeah, and then of course the body of her mother was found not too much longer after that.
Mm-hmm.
The second version. I forgot to mention, by the way. Hang on. That first story was from the Atlanta Constitution. There were several papers in Atlanta at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next version is from the Atlanta Journal. In this version of it, Lena and Emily were out walking, and then he
together.
Together. And he jumped out of the bushes. He hits Lena on the head with a brick. And then she's knocked unconscious, so he starts slashing at Emma Lou, who screams and runs, but faints from blood loss, because apparently he did connect a few times. And then she ran off. The Ripper cuts Lena's throat and then follows Emma Lou. She wakes up and finds him standing over her with a knife. But then the sounds of people running, footsteps and everything, people came running, and so he took off into the darkness. So one of two stories,
I'm inclined to believe the first one.
Uh-huh.
The second one sounds like it's from a John Grisham novel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Grisham.
It's just perfect. Oh, the high tension of it all. It just sounds like it is a reporter running off his little details.
I don't know. You don't think that him saying, "Don't worry, I never hurt girls like you," and then stabbing her in the back and laughing, that's not out of a John Grisham novel? Like, that's not...
So
you think that's more believable?
I do.
Really?
Picture Manson saying that as he walks by you on the street.
I mean, I just think this second one sounds more like his MO.
It kind of does.
That he bashed her over the head and then was standing over her, and she happened to come to.
But he never attacked a pair. Of all of the cases that are this central core 8 murders that are believed to be attributed to him.
Yeah, always lone women.
They're always alone. So this is a real jump.
But she was alone too. You mean it's just single a night?
One by themselves, one at a time, alone walking down the street.
I don't know. She was alone walking down the street.
No.
It was her and her mother walking together.